Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
So with that, we move on to the next topic. And here we'll look at distribution of population. So distribution means how the population is distributed at various areas depending on that region, depending on the climate, or what are the factors that influences the distribution of population. So we have already looked at population, right? The number of people. We also looked at census, counting the people. We also looked at demography, the statistical study of the counted people. Now we have to remember that people living in a country or in an area, they are distributed unevenly. Some areas will have very large number of people living in that area, while other places will have less number of people compared to the other one living in that area. So this happens everywhere. It does not only take place in one particular area or one country, but it happens all over the world. Some areas are densely populated and some are very sparsely populated. Okay? So people living in an area and that area being densely populated, if that area has a large number of people living in that area, then that area is called densely populated. Okay, and that has a high population density. Now if an area is very sparsely populated, there are very less people living in that area, then that is low population density. Okay, it is not densely populated. So high population density and low population density occurs depending on the regions. Now there are some areas or some states in our country which has low or very low population density, meaning the population of these states or these areas are very low. They are not densely populated. Okay, so the states are Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Tripura, Meghalaya, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. So these are states with low population density and sometimes very low population density. Now why do these areas or why some areas have low population density? Because these areas may have unfavorable climatic conditions and unfavorable physical terrain. Okay, so the climate of these areas, the weather conditions of these areas may not be good enough. Okay, they may receive lot of rain all the time throughout the year. They may have very dry landscape, so no proper cultivation takes place. They may have very arid and desert areas, or they may have very rocky and mountainous terrain. So all these lead to some of the areas or some of the states in our country or in any countries around the world to have very low or low population density. But if you look at the peninsular part of India, right, the part which has water bodies on its three sides, so that part of our country, and also if you look at Assam in the east, these areas have moderate density of population. They are not densely populated, but they are moderately populated area. Okay. So what we can understand by looking at the peninsular India and Assam on one hand, and by looking at areas like Jammu and Kashmir, Rajasthan, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, etc., we can see that the distribution of population is affected by some factors, and those factors are climate, right, and also physical terrain. Okay, whether the soil is fertile or infertile, whether the soil is shallow or arid, whether it has less rain or more rain, or whether it has a rocky landscape or it has fertile or smooth landscape, okay, rich in silt. Now these affect the distribution of population. Some of the high density population states in our country are Kerala, Tamil Nadu and the northern plains. Now these areas are densely populated. They have high population density. And why they have high density population? Why do most people live in these areas? Because the landscape is very conducive to people living there, meaning that the soil of these areas are very rich, fertile, which is very good for cultivation of crops, and the climate is also very moderate. Okay, it's not extreme, it's not extremely cold, not extremely hot, it's moderate, and it also receives plenty of rainfall. It does not have scanty rainfall, it does not have too much rainfall like Meghalaya. Okay, it has plenty of rainfall. This is why these areas have high density population, meaning more and more people, large number of people in our country live in these areas.